Shadur Sanders just destroyed 100 years of NFL tradition with one clause that owners never saw coming. While rookies typically surrender their image rights and accept whatever crumbs fall from the table, Shedeur walked into negotiations with a nuclear weapon disguised as paperwork. This isn't just about money. This is about a complete power shift that has NFL executives panicking behind closed doors. The numbers alone should terrify anyone who profits from keeping young athletes under control. We're talking about a rookie who secured a $250 million Nike deal, enough to buy a private island, before taking a single professional snap. But that mind-blowing figure represents something far more dangerous to the establishment than just another rich athlete. But the real bombshell wasn't the money. Hidden inside Shedeur's contracts lies something called prime equity, a revolutionary clause that gives him complete ownership of his image rights. This means every endorsement, every appearance, every piece of merchandise bearing his name generates revenue that flows directly into his pockets, not the team's coffers. It's a level of autonomy that transforms him from employee to business partner, and it's sending shockwaves through an industry built on controlling young talent. Traditional NFL rookies sign away their rights the moment they put pen to paper. Teams own their image, control their sponsorships, and take massive cuts from every deal. It's a system designed to keep players dependent, while owners get rich off their talents and personalities. Shadur Sanders didn't just reject this system, he obliterated it. What happened next changed everything. The moment word spread about Shedur's unprecedented autonomy, agents across the league started making phone calls. Suddenly, every rookie entering the draft wanted to know why they couldn't have the same deal. NFL owners, who had grown comfortable with decades of profit sharing from player endorsements, found themselves facing an existential threat to their business model. Deion Sanders, Shedur's father and mastermind behind the prime equity strategy, understood something most people miss about professional sports. It's not really about the game. It's about the business empire built around the personalities playing it. By ensuring his son maintained control over his own image, Deion essentially handed Shedeur the keys to unlimited earning potential. The impact extends far beyond football. Shedur's Brady brand partnership alone pulls in $75 million annually, more than some countries' GDP, while his revolutionary 50% cut from jersey sales is unheard of in sports history. These aren't just impressive numbers. They're proof that the old system of athlete exploitation is crumbling. This is where it gets dangerous. Sources close to several NFL front offices report emergency meetings discussing what they're calling the Shedeur problem. Team owners who once counted on rookie image rights as guaranteed revenue streams now face the terrifying prospect of negotiating with empowered young athletes who understand their worth. The control they've maintained for generations is slipping away, one prime equity clause at a time. But Shedeur's influence reaches beyond individual contracts. His success has inspired a generation of young athletes to question why they should surrender their earning potential to organizations that view them as replaceable assets. The traditional power dynamic, where teams held all the leverage, is being systematically dismantled by a quarterback who understood the game behind the game. Consider the psychological impact on other rookies watching Shedeur's empire grow. He generated $15 million in jersey sales before playing a single snap, a figure that exposes how much money teams have been quietly pocketing from player popularity. When young athletes see those numbers, they start asking uncomfortable questions about their own deals. At this point, Shedeur's making more money than some small countries. The leaked documents revealed something else. Internal communications from multiple NFL teams show growing concern about what they term contractual contagion. Legal departments are scrambling to develop countermeasures against prime equity clauses, while marketing divisions calculate potential revenue losses if more players demand similar autonomy. The fear isn't just about money, it's about losing control over the narrative that keeps the current system profitable. Shedur's diverse business portfolio demonstrates exactly why team owners are terrified. His apparel line, barbecue sauce brand, EA Sports partnership, and multimedia ventures create multiple income streams that bypass traditional team oversight entirely. He's not just a football player with endorsements. He's a multimedia entrepreneur who happens to play quarterback. The transformation extends to his public persona as well. Unlike previous rookies who carefully manage their image to avoid offending team management, Shedeur speaks openly about treating football as a business first. His interviews focus on building generational wealth, creating opportunities for others, and using his platform for long-term impact rather than short-term approval. But one name changes everything. Tom Brady's involvement in Shedur's business empire represents more than just another celebrity partnership. Brady's own post-football business success serves as a blueprint for athletes who understand that playing careers are temporary, but smart business decisions create lasting wealth. When the most successful quarterback in NFL history publicly aligns with Shedur's approach, it validates the entire strategy. The ripple effects are already visible across college football, where young players increasingly view their amateur careers as preparation for business ownership, rather than just professional sports. Coaches report recruiting conversations that focus as much on post-graduation earning potential as on immediate playing opportunities. The entire pipeline is changing. NFL marketing executives privately admit that losing control over player images could devastate their current revenue model. Team merchandise, stadium naming rights, and broadcast partnerships all depend on maintaining exclusive access to player likenesses. Shadur's success proves that players can generate equivalent or superior revenue independently, making team involvement unnecessary rather than essential. The conspiracy goes deeper. Multiple sources confirm that NFL ownership groups have held private discussions about implementing league-wide restrictions on prime equity clauses. These conversations, conducted away from public scrutiny and player union oversight, allegedly focus on preserving what owners call competitive balance, but what critics describe as profit protection. The league's most powerful figures are quietly coordinating their response to what they view as an existential threat. Legal experts following the situation note that any coordinated effort to restrict player autonomy could trigger antitrust investigations. The NFL's exemption from certain competitive regulations doesn't extend to deliberate suppression of individual earning opportunities. If ownership groups are indeed colluding to limit prime equity clauses, they're potentially exposing themselves to massive legal liability. The timing of these alleged discussions coincides suspiciously with increased media coverage questioning Shedur's draft position and on-field performance. Critics suggest that negative narratives about his football abilities serve to deflect attention from his business success, making it easier to dismiss his contractual innovations as irrelevant to real players. Behind closed doors, team financial advisors are reportedly modeling worst-case scenarios where star players demand similar autonomy. The projections are devastating. Franchise valuations could plummet if teams lose their traditional revenue streams from player endorsements and image rights. The implications extend beyond individual organizations to the entire structure of professional sports economics. But the most concerning development for NFL leadership isn't financial, it's cultural. Shadur represents a new generation of athletes who view professional sports as a stepping stone to business ownership rather than the ultimate career goal. This mindset shift threatens the league's ability to maintain control over its talent pipeline. The threat was already in motion. Anonymous tips to sports journalists have increased dramatically since Shedur's business success became public knowledge. These leaks, often containing detailed financial information about other players' contracts, appear designed to create controversy and distract from broader conversations about player autonomy. The coordinated nature of these revelations suggests organized opposition to the changes Shadur represents. Several prominent sports agents report receiving pressure from team executives to discourage clients from pursuing prime equity clauses. These conversations, while not explicitly threatening, make clear that players demanding increased autonomy might face reduced playing opportunities or unfavorable treatment from coaching staff. The message is unmistakable: conform or face consequences. The campaign extends to media coverage, where storylines increasingly focus on Shedur's football performance rather than his business acumen. Analysts who once praised innovative player entrepreneurship now question whether off-field success creates on-field distractions. The narrative shift appears coordinated and intentional. Young athletes watching these developments understand the implications perfectly. The establishment's resistance to Shedur's success sends a clear message about who benefits from the current system and who loses when players gain autonomy. This knowledge is inspiring rather than discouraging, as more prospects demand similar protections in their own negotiations. Unless this wasn't an accident. The sudden appearance of detailed financial information about Shedur's deals in mainstream media raises questions about who benefits from increased transparency. While some coverage appears genuinely journalistic, other revelations seem designed to generate controversy rather than inform the public. The strategic timing and selective nature of these leaks suggest coordination. Industry insiders note that financial details about player contracts rarely become public unless someone with access deliberately shares them. The comprehensive nature of information about Shedeur's various deals indicates that multiple sources across different organizations are providing data to media outlets. This level of coordination doesn't happen organically. The pattern extends beyond contract details to include speculation about family dynamics, questioning whether Shadur Sanders' involvement helps or hinders his son's career. These personal attacks, disguised as sports analysis, appear designed to undermine the credibility of the entire prime equity strategy by attacking its architects. That's when the threat arrived. Sources close to the Sanders family report receiving anonymous messages warning that Shedur's business success is making the wrong people angry. While these communications contain no explicit threats, their timing coincides with increased scrutiny of the family's business practices and public criticism of their approach to player autonomy. The messages allegedly reference specific business deals and financial arrangements that haven't been publicly disclosed, suggesting that whoever is behind them has access to confidential information. This level of detail implies involvement from individuals within the sports or business establishment who view Shadur's success as problematic. Legal experts advising the Sanders family recommend treating these communications seriously, particularly given the financial stakes involved. Shadur's business empire represents hundreds of millions in future earnings, making him a high-value target for individuals or organizations threatened by his success. The psychological warfare extends to social media, where coordinated campaigns question Shadur's character, work ethic, and commitment to football. These attacks, often amplified by anonymous accounts with suspicious posting patterns, appear designed to damage his reputation and discourage other young athletes from following his example. One detail exposes the truth. The timing of negative coverage about Shedeur consistently precedes major business announcements or contract negotiations. This pattern suggests that opposition forces have advanced knowledge of his business activities and coordinate their responses to minimize positive impact. The precision of this timing indicates sophisticated intelligence gathering and strategic communication. Analysis of social media activity reveals networks of accounts that exclusively post negative content about Shedeur and other players who've negotiated unusual contract terms. These accounts, created within weeks of each other and following similar posting patterns, bear hallmarks of coordinated influence operations rather than organic fan criticism. Financial tracking of negative advertising campaigns targeting Shedeur reveals funding sources connected to traditional sports marketing agencies that have lost business due to his independent approach. These organizations have financial incentives to discredit prime equity strategies and maintain the existing system that generates their revenue. The most damning evidence comes from leaked communications between team executives discussing reputation management strategies for dealing with problematic players who demand increased autonomy. These messages explicitly reference Shedeur as a cautionary tale and outline coordinated approaches to discourage similar behavior from other athletes. The final revelation will shock you. Investigation into the funding sources behind anti-Shedeur media campaigns reveals connections to a consortium of traditional sports marketing firms, team ownership groups, and broadcast networks. These organizations have collectively invested billions in maintaining the current system where they control player images and endorsements. Shadur's success threatens their entire business model. The consortium allegedly operates through shell companies and third-party contractors to avoid direct association with negative campaigns. This structure provides plausible deniability while allowing coordinated attacks on players who challenge the status quo. The sophistication of this operation suggests significant resources and professional expertise. Documents obtained through sources within the organization detail specific strategies for discrediting players who negotiate prime equity clauses. These include coordinated media campaigns, social media manipulation, and pressure on business partners to withdraw support. The goal isn't just to limit individual players, but to discourage others from following their example. The most disturbing aspect of this conspiracy is its targeting of young athletes who are simply trying to control their own earning potential. By systematically attacking players who achieve business success, the consortium aims to maintain a system that enriches established interests at the expense of the talent that generates the actual value. But despite this coordinated opposition, Shedur's success continues to inspire a new generation of athletes who understand that their talent belongs to them, not to the organizations that profit from it. His prime equity strategy has become a blueprint for player empowerment that no amount of negative publicity can erase. The transformation he represents extends far beyond individual contracts to encompass a fundamental shift in how young athletes view their relationship with professional sports. They're no longer content to be employees in someone else's business. They're determined to be partners in their own success. This revolution in athlete autonomy threatens to reshape not just football, but all professional sports. When players control their own images and endorsements, they gain leverage that extends far beyond contract negotiations. They become stakeholders in the leagues that depend on their talents, rather than assets to be managed and controlled. The old system, built on information asymmetry and power imbalances, cannot survive in an environment where players understand their true value and demand appropriate compensation. Shadur Sanders hasn't just negotiated better deals, he's exposed the exploitation that the current system depends on to function. For young athletes watching this transformation, the message is clear. Their talents belong to them, their images are their property, and their earning potential should benefit them rather than enrich others. The prime equity revolution has begun, and no amount of establishment resistance can stop it. The future of professional sports will be written by athletes who understand that the game on the field is secondary to the business game that surrounds it. Shadur Sanders has shown them the playbook, and they're ready to use it. The NFL's worst nightmare isn't a rookie who can't perform under pressure. It's a rookie who understands the business better than the people trying to control him. Shadur Sanders represents that nightmare made manifest, and his success is inspiring others to follow his path. This isn't just about one player or one sport. It's about a fundamental shift in power that will determine whether the next generation of athletes builds wealth for themselves or continues to enrich the systems that have profited from their talents for generations. The revolution has begun, and there's no going back. Subscribe so you don't miss the next shocking chapter.